to Soma Talks podcast, sponsored by Coda Kitchen and the Lifestyle Boutique and Senor Sangria. That's our new sponsor. I'm Ileana, and I'm joined once again by Soma's favorite social justice warrior, Ileana Castillo.
Yay!
You like that one? I think every week we're going to come up with a new nickname for you.
I know, right?
Right. So that was that one I just came up with in the car ride over here to the studio, Ileana. So, hey, man, we're off to a great start with this podcast. I mean, we're 3 in. This is our 4th. We have thousands of hits.
I know.
You know, that's the exciting. That's real exciting. So I thank you for getting me involved in this, Ileana. I had a great life before you reached out to me. So, hey, you want to do something fun? I was like, what? Yeah, that's a podcast. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I have nothing to do. So
right.
now, yeah, that's all I do now, ladies and gentlemen.
That's
this podcast.
funny.
Yeah, this is like 24/7. I have 19 emails from Ileana. I got 72 texts from Ileana.
That's
hey,
true.
and the phone calls.
That's true.
You know, what are you doing, Lee? Oh, well, I'm having dinner with the family. She's like, well, yeah, we need to talk. I mean, that's basically tell your family you'll talk to them tomorrow.
I know. True story, guys. True story.
True story. So, anyway, this week's podcast, what we were doing and what we were working so hard to produce for you was the Maplewood election is on Tuesday for the Maplewood Township Committee, and we wanted to get the candidates on here. See, we have thousands of hits, and we said, boy, they're going to want to come on here and sell themselves. These are 3 candidates for 2 spots. So anyway.
I know, haven't you seen that the candidates have not really been out and people get to know them? I think they only did the Hilton Association debate, and then after that, I don't think they've done any more debates. And I think some people would like to hear them talk about what they want to do, why they're running again, like get a feel of them, right?
I mean, I know the 3 of them have been busy knocking on doors. I know the 3 of them have been busy going to events. They've been going to the Mayfest, things of that nature. I understand we're a new podcast. I understand that this may be a little bit of a who are these guys? What are they going to ask us? Are they going to ask us something we don't want to be asked? You know.
Well, remember, listeners are the misfits of Soma Talk, so yeah.
Right. But we. So anyway, long story short, we did ask Malia Herman if she would like to join us. She said she was very polite. She said no, thank you. I can't. I'm very busy, and I understood that. We did reach out to Jermaine Kripe. She said, no, thank you. I'm very busy. And then we reached out to Nancy Adams, who said, no, I am very busy. So we struck out there. But
do you think they're giving us the runaround?
You know what? Nancy said she'd come on after the podcast. Dean, by the way, it's Dean Daffis. It's not Dean Dafis. People were giving me a hard time about mispronouncing all these names. And I know I apologized to Jermaine. I did send her a note saying I called you Jasmine. That was incorrect. And I apologize for that. And also Malia.
I never take it personal when people don't know how to say my name, Ileana. They always say Eileen.
Yes.
Liliana.
Well, you look like an Eileen.
Of course I do.
You look like an Eileen Smith, but...
No, Dean Daffis, he is very...
Daffis.
Daffis, yes. Okay. He is very interested in coming, but he said try to do it after the election.
Right. He did say that he would, assuming his candidate, Malia, won.
Dean is fun. Yeah. Dean is fun. I'm looking forward to that. He said
once she wins, if she wins, she would like to come on too. But Dean is... Malia.
Malia.
Yeah. But and I understand. You know what? They want to be real careful with us during the election. They would hate to say something or we ask them a question. And I get it. And that's not just one of them. That's all 3. That's just how it goes. But anyway, long story short, what we've done is we've actually invited a few of their neighbors to come in and discuss. Unfortunately, as it turns out, the friend of Jermaine Kripe can't make it. So that stinks because we were going to have all 3. We want to be fair and balanced.
We wanted to be fair and balanced, but it seems that, I think they were hesitating to come to our podcast. They really think that we were not be there to look for their best interest. They thought there was like a little shadiness on their end.
I mean, look, she out of the 3 candidates, Jermaine has definitely put herself out there by getting involved in international politics. And her stance on Gaza it has angered many, and it has. But others
I don't think it's that. I think it's the group itself. Like Soma Talks, they don't.
Yeah.
think that there's something shady, that we're just here to mock them, or we're there
Yeah,
just to,
that could be. And right, they know I'm a comic. They know I've done comedy, and they know that you've been very involved in social media, and almost as like the antithesis of the Soma Lounge and these safe places. You're when Soma Talks is not necessarily a safe place. It's a place to come and say your piece and be prepared, because you may not like the responses you get, and that's how you run it. And I think that's the way these sites should be run. I don't like when they monitor the sites to the point of they're controlling everything that's being said. That's not democratic. I don't know why some of these sites here in Maplewood think it's okay.
They don't trust us. They just, I understand. We've had a really strong opinions about Cripe and some of her teams. But, politics like that, when I ran, you have no idea the horrible things they said, to the point that they mocked my family. But that didn't stop me if someone wanted to interview me or anything, to do what I had to do, because I put my feelings aside.
Right.
And I did what I had to do.
Right. Well, I just mocked you. I didn't mock your family. Just so you're right. So actually, I like your kids. But I understand it's painful. I remember the same thing.
I'm sure you get mocked too.
And listen. And by the way, these three candidates, and this goes for Deputy Mayor Cripe as well. You know what? I applaud the three of you. You're out there. You're trying to make a difference. Jermaine, you said you stood up internationally. You got involved in things. Maybe I wouldn't have gotten involved. But you still took a stand. There are many that are applauding you. There are many that are saying you shouldn't have done it. It's probably costing you votes, or maybe it's going to help you. But the bottom line is, I applaud the three of you. Congratulations. May the best woman win. And we'll find that out on Tuesday. Now, one of the things I did want to say, Ileana, is for new voters out there, those of you that are new to Maplewood or the new to New Jersey, understand these are three candidates running. Even though you see the Adams-Cripe name on one sign in many cases, you don't have to vote for both Adams and Cripe. You have two votes. You can vote for Adams and Malia Herman. You can vote for Malia Herman and Cripe. You can vote. You have two votes. You could vote for one of them, if you want to. So just so you know, that's how it works. You don't have to. It's not like the president and the vice president of the United States. They're running as a ticket. You can vote for Nancy. You can vote for Malia. You can vote for Cripe. You can vote for Malia. Just so everyone understands that.
Question for you before we start getting our guests coming in and join us. Let's put it out there. Who's the person you sympathize with, the three candidates? Who do you think you're going to vote for, and why?
Yeah, well, no, it's a straight shooter, and full disclosure, I'm a very close friend of Nancy Adams. I've known Nancy for many, many years. I support her. I love her. She's a good friend. She will remain a good friend, hopefully, after this podcast. But I know her. She's been to my house. I've been to her house. I know her husband. I know her ex-husband. I know her father, by the way, who, by the way, was the former President John Adams of the United States. I don't know if you knew that. He was.
No.
Yeah. Nancy would make Nancy 175 years old, I think. But yeah, no, she's a little younger than that. But no, I know Nancy. She's a great friend. Malia, I have not met. I have not met Malia Herman.
So you still don't know who's your second vote will go, or you're just going to go vote for one person?
Well, who I'm endorsing right now. Nancy and
well, Nancy's a given. We know you're going to vote for her.
And I want to talk to our guests, and maybe they can convince me between Malia and Jermaine. But because I don't know. I met Jermaine a couple times. Shook hands, and she's a very lovely, very nice woman. Certainly not shy. She's a very nice woman, and she is a deputy mayor, and she's done some good things for the town. No doubt about it. But again, she has an issue, which I think is a significant issue for Jewish.
Do you really think that her stepping in the politics internationally with the whole Jewish and Hamas situation, do you really think she lost a lot of Jewish votes?
It remains to be seen. But amongst the Jewish people that I know in town, and there are quite a few, she's not very popular. She's not very popular. And when you're reading some of the social media posts, and she did apologize, by the way, and she apologized multiple times for some of the comments she made, which, just to reiterate, she has taken a stance in support of the Palestinian people. She did say something to the degree during some type of protest in South Orange. that it was a Hamas pushback. To the end.
My understanding that after she apologized twice, she had that scarf that represented the
Right, yeah.
That was
is
a
it, is it a
big that-
kifa? I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
What is that called? How do you call that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually looked it up on
Michael Goldberg, you know all these terms.
right, yeah. So apparently it was handed to her right before Township Committee meeting. She put it on her chair. Then she might have it's a scarf. She might have put it on her head, and it really angered many people. But look, she says she stands for peace, and I'm okay with that. She stands for peace. It may not be. We may see differently on how we're going to get there.
I think one of the problems that it really pissed the Jewish community is when she said something on an email like, if I make Jewish feel unsafe, that's on you all. That's hard. That was very, punch in the gut, really?
What I will say in defense of that, and I'm not defending anyone here, I will say in defense of that is that, I think she works, she's got a job, she does this
But that's
also.
kind of a little bit arrogant.
She's getting emails late at night, and maybe you're tired, and maybe you're
Then don't run.
And maybe you're right.
Don't run then.
You're right.
But you can't talk to the Jewish people with such arrogance, if you guys feel unsafe, that's on you. Really?
Yeah. No.
Really? I'm not even Jewish, and that hurt.
Right. Yeah.
I'm a wannabe Jewish. I always say that.
Yeah, and I'm Jewish, and I was like, she's probably right. It's on us. But, I should be less sensitive to the situation in the Middle East.
God.
But look,
I really wish we had someone that could talk with us about Cripe,
yeah, that would have been
why
nice.
she's running, why should people vote for her, and all that. We really tried, guys. We've been all day back and forth trying to reach out to her team and everything. We exhausted, but I get they have certain hesitation to come here, so it's unfortunate. So,
but you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to read. She did receive a beautiful endorsement on the Village Green.
By who?
Barbara Velasquez.
I read that. That's a lot of those CCR people, the Coalition Race.
Yeah, Community Coalition on Race. Okay.
Yeah, that's all that.
And I thought it was very nice. Let me open it up, and I'll just read a little bit of it, just so again, these are what her friends are saying about her, and it's a Village Green. I just got to type in my password here. Hold on a second. You know what? It says I need a new credit card. You got a credit card on you for the Village Green?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let me try my. Can we write this off? It's $7.99 a month. Hold on a second. We just gotta punch this in. Password. Okay. Paul J. Haley sucks. Okay. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was your password.
Sorry, Mary, man. I just gave away my password. Everybody out there, you got a free password to the Village Green. So, but okay, here's what I'm just gonna read a little portion of this, and actually it's signed by a few different women and I guess men too. Jermaine Cripe has the courage of her convictions and has taken courageous stands on matters that others would shy away from to avoid controversy, like opposing artificial turf to replace the grass on Ritzer Field and calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. She has responded to criticism of those positions with respect and grace. So that's just a little bit of what her friends are saying. This is signed by Kim Chan and Erin Siders and Isis Fabian, Joel Sunbear, Bert Morris, Melody Sunbear, Allison Oxman, and Barbara Velasquez. So she's got a lot of supporters. She's got a lot of friends, and may the best woman win. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have a few guests on to discuss some of the other candidates. So hold on just a minute. Thanks all.
I respectfully submit it's time to give cartoons a vote. Let's all march on Washington. Let's fight the fight. I might only be a drawing, but I still want equal rights.
Okay, we're back here on the Soma Talks podcast, and we have a very special guest with us. She is a very good friend of Mayor Nancy Adams, and her name is Ann Marzano Bauer. She's a very good friend of mine also. And you have lived in Maplewood now you grew up here, you raised your family here.
Yes, we moved to Maplewood when I was 3 years old. I grew up here, went away to college, lived in Manhattan for a couple of years, and when I got married and wanted to have children, I came back to Maplewood. And I've been back in Maplewood since 1996.
That's amazing. And your dad, of course, is the legendary Rudy Marzano. Everybody loved Rudy. We lost Rudy not too long ago.
Yeah, December.
Yeah, he was a good man, and God bless him.
He had a good run, 96 and a half. So
96 and a half years. Quick question for you. What was it like? Because there are a lot of seniors that are listening to this podcast. I will be one, unfortunately, soon enough, or maybe fortunately soon enough. Was it tough to be in Maplewood until you're 95 years of age with the taxes and with a little bit before we get to the candidates? What was that like?
I'll tell you a story about that. My parents, we lived on Summit Avenue in a big Victorian house, 6 bedrooms. And all the kids, all 8 of them, grew up and moved out. And my parents were in this house that they loved, but the taxes were a lot. So they moved down to Point Pleasant. And my dad used to tell me every day, Ann, my taxes are $5,000 in Point Pleasant. And they're $25,000 in Maplewood. And every day I'd say, that's great, Dad. I'm very happy for you. Go forward 6 years. My father called me and said, get me out of here. I will pay anything. I need to be back in Maplewood, and you go find me a house. I found him a house on Pearson Road. Mm-hmm. He bought it sight unseen, did not care. And he came home, and for both my parents, they did not care about the taxes anymore. They cared about where they lived and who they lived among.
Right. So, and he was, I mean, if you guys knew Rudy, he was at the library every day until they closed it. But, you used to see him all over town. So you guys are, you're Maplewood lifers. You're supporting Nancy Adams. And Ileana, did you want to ask anything specific of?
Hey, sweetie, how are you?
Good.
As you know, this is a special podcast because we want to talk about the 3 candidates that are running for Township Committee in Maplewood, right? And our first question, I'm sure Lee wants to know, which candidate are you endorsing and why?
Okay.
I already know the answer.
Of course you do.
I'm endorsing Nancy Adams, and I am a personal friend of hers. And she actually was at Rudy's Repass at my house.
Okay, wonderful.
And I'm good friends with Nancy. We hang out socially. She works tirelessly, I have to tell you, on her duties for the town. She's very committed, and I happen to have respect for anybody who works on the Township Committee, whether I agree with them or not.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
It's a thankless job. They really work hard, and they're dedicated people, whether you agree with their points of view or not.
But why specific do you want to vote for Nancy? Is there anything besides your friendship with her that stick out? Like, have she done a good job, or you're supporting her because she's very green? Like, what, because a lot of people are like, I think we need fresh blood. Like, Nancy Adams has been so long. Has he really done a lot? Like, what do you feel about that?
I think that Nancy Adams has common sense, and she's very pragmatic. She's a hard worker, and she's also a Villanova fan. So she and I share that.
Yes,
and,
that's right. As a matter of fact, when the Knicks were in the playoffs this recently, and she Nova Knicks. How do you Nova Knicks do it? I would say it's a New York Knicks. It's a Nova Knicks. But that's right. I forgot. You two have. She didn't go to Villanova, but somehow or another.
No, Sal, her husband, went to Villanova.
Oh, that's the connection.
And Nancy is she's an avid Villanova fan, and I am too.
Yes.
So we bonded over that initially, and I got to know her because of that. Actually, we would be at St. James Gate.
Right.
Or at the old Shintanis, whatever we're calling it now.
Highland Place. This
Highland,
is going back a ways for you drinkers out there.
Yeah. Are we going there after?
Yeah, we sure. Why not? We're going to go to Coda, our sponsor. Yes.
Excellent.
Absolutely,
Coda. Let's go.
Yes. And yeah, it's funny when I'm hanging out with Ann and Nancy, it's embarrassing because they know so much about college basketball, like everything. And so I'm the dude that's, and they're talking about like, Coach so-and-so, North Carolina. I'm like, who are you talking about? And so it's embarrassing if you're a dude, pride yourself on being a dude. But Nancy and Ann, Nancy knows her basketball. Nancy knows her politics. So, what else I like about Nancy, I'm curious to see what you think. Nancy has been I met Nancy when she was, and I tell the story all the time, and and I said it as a joke, but it's actually not a joke. She was literally picking cigarette butts up on Springfield Avenue. It was a horrible roadway. It was nowhere anybody would spend money or go to a restaurant. It was really in disrepair. To talk a little bit about the Nancy, what that would have been like. What kind of person would have moved here and say, hey, I want to help clean up this road and make a difference? How did the Springfield Avenue Coalition change your community?
Well, Springfield Avenue, when I was growing up, it was kind of the place that you would go either to like the drive-in bank or the tire store or the paint store. So it was very different than, let's say, the Maplewood Village. And now it has a very, and I hate to say this, Brooklyn feel to it, but it definitely does. And there's all these great stores popping up. And, it's no longer the stepchild of Maplewood. I think it's more of a destination place to go. The new pub's fabulous, by the way, if you want to watch sports. And I can teach you sports if you want.
Okay, I'll go there with
you. I know you're a little challenged there.
Except when it comes to my New York Jets, by the way.
Right.
But other than that, right, college basketball, the tournament comes along, I'm gonna need some help. Basketball tournament, that is.
All right, I got a question for both of you. I'm going to play the devil's advocate because I'll be honest, I don't plan on voting for Nancy unless someone convinces me why I should vote for her. And I know a lot of people would like to hear, convince me why I should vote for her. Like, yeah, she's a good friend of yours. She's done this, that. But you guys haven't given me a good reason. Bam, I'll be like, oh, okay, I can see why. Gotta bring your game. Why I should vote for Nancy.
I think what Ann kind of just said is, she shows up to work. She shows up to the meetings. She shows up to the various.
You can show up to a meeting and still not do anything.
But she's there. She's doing the work. She's showing up to the committees. She's showing up to the meetings. She's an active participant. You may not agree with everything she says, but she's there. That's the thing. And I know Vic DeLuca. By the way, here's another fun fact. The three of us, by the way, we all ran for Township Committee.
Yes, we did. That's true. That's a very fun fact.
And
what year did you run? I'm sorry to interrupt you. What year did you run?
2000 I ran.
Who were you running against? Do you remember?
Vic DeLuca and Jerry Ryan.
The legends. The legends.
I really miss Jerry Ryan, I have to say.
You know what?
He's a good guy.
Yeah. He didn't give me the time of day until he realized I was buying the first round. And then I couldn't shake the late Jerry Ryan.
And you were against? Were you running against Vic too?
I ran against Vic and India Larrier. So again, this was in a Democratic primary, and Vic asked me one question when he decided to go with India Larrier over me, because it was the two of us basically, and the Maplewood Democratic Committee chose the candidate. For instance, Nancy Adams and Kripe are chosen by the Maplewood Democratic Committee. They have the endorsement, and Malia is running as a Democrat, but she's running independent of the endorsements.
Right.
But so I didn't get the endorsement. And Vic asked me one question. He said, "Lee," he goes, "how many meetings have you participated in? How many times have you been to a township committee meeting? How many committees have you joined?" And I said 0. And that was, and he laughed, but then he took me aside. He said, "Look," he goes, "this is really important stuff." And this was, back in 2010 or 11. This is really important stuff. I need someone who's going to show up. I need someone I can count on. I need someone that's going to go to the meetings. And he goes, "That's the most important thing." And Vic's 25 years in, Nancy's many, many years in, and I think that's at the end
funny.
of the day.
You guys ran against Vic DeLuca, and I ran against Nancy Adams with Greg Lembridge.
Oh, so yeah. So
and I went to a debate with them.
you lost to Greg.
I did. Lost to Greg Lembridge.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Greg was actually undefeated, I think, before he finally, said, "I got."
So let me ask you this: when is just too much? Because I feel like Nancy have been there forever. When is it just too much? Give it to the new people.
Well, she's only this is her first term as mayor. I think she fought really hard to become mayor, and I don't think it was easy. I mean, she's a woman. I think that was an obstacle for her. When she joined the Maplewood Committee, was there other?
Ellen Davenport was the only other woman mayor.
Only female mayor.
Wasn't she only? Yeah, right.
So I think it was Nancy. Nancy put. She put her dues in there.
Yeah,
she really did.
She paid her dues, and
she paid her dues.
And I think, Ann, you might agree with me. And by the way, Ann, and I know Ann and our politics are similar. We're not left-wing folks by any stretch of the imagination. Nancy is, but you know what? Nancy, she just something very dynamic about her. There's just something when you get to know her, you're like, I'm not sure I agree, but you know what? I'm gonna follow her lead because it's gonna get me to where I want to go. And some people just have that.
Yeah, she's a hard worker. I mean, listen, it's just like you said, picking up the cigarette butts. That's dedication.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done it. I think I walked out Springfield Avenue. I was, oh my God,
No, I can't see you doing
No,
that.
I don't pick up cigarette butts. And because I don't smoke, so I don't have to. But I don't. Maybe it was Nancy was picking up her own cigarette butts. I don't know, but I don't think that was the case. But anyway, that's I think.
Well, I wanted to say one thing,
Sure.
and I'm not really up to date on all the issues with the other candidates, but I noticed that with Herman, it's interesting that the former mayor, Frank McGee, is supporting her as
Yes.
well as Greg Lembridge. So I
Right.
read that and I was kind of like, scratching my head on that.
They're
one.
not supporting Nancy. You would think that she's worked with both of them. They might, they're Greg Lembridge and Frank McGee and Deborah. She's another township committee.
Deborah Engel.
She
Yeah.
just,
It's McGahey,
all three
Engel,
of them are supporting
Lembridge,
Malia.
right. Yeah.
Malia Nunn. That's raised a little question. You're right. Like,
Are they pursuing the bullet vote? You know what I mean by the bullet vote, right? If there's 3 candidates running, you want your candidate to win. You just say only vote for our candidate. I
Yeah,
think.
right.
Right. Is
The
that what
Board
it's
of Ed does that a lot.
Right. The Board of Ed
Right.
does that. So I don't know if that's what they're.
no, they're just endorsing her, and they're in her
Yeah.
team. Like they're out there in the train giving postcards. I see them on their Facebook, like Rick Lembridge, like waking up early, and they're really endorsing her hardcore. The only
Yeah.
one that is endorsing Nancy from the Township Committee is Vic DeLuca.
Right.
I wonder who Greg and Frank are going to support for the second candidate.
They have not.
They
said.
have not
They
said.
only
See, that
said
would be interesting
Malia.
to know.
That would be interesting. Maybe they won't vote for anyone and just give their
Do
vote
the bullet thing, right?
for Malia.
Yeah. It's. I mean, to me, Vic, he's been there the longest. That's the endorsement that if I were running, I would want. I love you, Dean, and I love you, Frank. You guys are good mayors.
Really? That would be the vote, Vic DeLuca?
Yeah, Vic is, he's a guy that was there for. I'm going to tell you something about Vic DeLuca, and we didn't like Vic DeLuca. We've had plenty of conversations about Vic DeLuca, but this is going back years and years and years and years. But
Yeah.
I got to tell you something. Out of all the politicians that I've met in New Jersey, and I've met quite a few, and I went to high school with Chris Christie, he was a couple years older than me, and his brother Todd was just like Chris. But I got to say something about Vic is one of the hardest working politicians.
Agreed.
And you know what? I disagree with some of the things he said, but I'm going to tell you something. I think if there's a Hall of Fame for New Jersey politicians, Vic DeLuca belongs in that.
I feel like
Hall
I'm
of
the
Fame.
outsider today because I would not say Vic would be my go-to man. I would like to have Dean Daffis. Dean Daffis and I have disagreed many times on Facebook, many times, and we always talk with respectful, like. With all due respect, this and this and that. And when we see each other, we're all huggy-dovey, gossipy, having drinks, we're all laughing. Like, I like that. But with Vic, every time I see him, or either he ignores me or turn around or give me the cold shoulder. And I'm like, okay, is that how it's going to be? That's fine. So that's why I don't have that big...
The Vic thing.
The Vic thing,
He
no.
was never
Dean,
all that
yes.
warm, He works tirelessly. He really does.
Yeah.
But I get he doesn't smile enough. I guess he was.
But Dean, that's what I like about
yeah.
Dean.
A couple.
Yes, everybody. I'm a Dean fan. Oh, man. Dean fan.
I love Dean too, and you know what, Dean? I know you're going to be mayor again, and I think you might, who knows, maybe governor someday. I mean, you've got that special thing about you. Charisma, yes.
If you guys would know the things that me and Dean talk.
And he looks good with the.
That would be a best, and still that would be a bestseller.
He looks good with the blue blazer, and
He's always chilling.
He's always dressed nicely. I up in shorts and a t-shirt, to the bar and or the restaurant, and I see him. It's like a Sunday, and he's dressed to the nines. I'm like,
You look good though, Lee.
I've lost.
Oh yes, for the record,
I lost a little bit of weight.
yeah, for the record, Lee is wearing shorts here, showing all his legs.
That's
By the
right,
way,
yes,
nice
yes.
legs.
You like him?
And arms, too. You're looking good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You know, my secret is this podcast. I've lost 15 pounds since Ileana asked me to do a podcast with her.
Think I'll buy us drinks after.
No, Ileana will say, "Hey, I got the first round," and she go, "Oh, I left my my pocketbook in the car, my bag in the car, with all my notes, by the way, for today's
with all
show."
my notes, I'm always with my notes.
Right.
I know.
But the thing with Vic is this is a story that I really love the most about Vic. Real quickly, so everyone knows Hank Zona, right? The great Hank Zona. You know Hank, Mr. Wine Guy. Yeah, by the way,
He
Hank
used to be an MOL to us. Hank Zona too, wasn't
and by
he?
the way, Hank, if you want to sponsor us, we would love to have
Oh,
you.
time out. Ann, were you an MOL?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your? We were going to bring back MOL. Apparently, we're always mentioning them. What was your name and Maplewood Online?
I had too many to remember.
She'd get banned. She had to come up with a new one. Yeah, that's what I did.
I remember your sister. Yeah, she was there a lot.
Mem.
Yeah, that was her. Excuse me.
Yeah,
What was yours?
I can't remember. I had them written down. I'll have to go back and look at them. But
I was
had a
Strawberry
bunch.
Straw. The straw remains the straw that serves a drink. The straw, the song of the straw.
I
Whatever.
was Harley Quinn, and when I got banned, I changed it to Poison Ivy. But that doesn't matter. Now we got banned too.
But my Vic story, real
yeah.
quickly, is so Hank Zona is down the beach. He's down the shore, and he's walking along with his wife or something, and he sees a pizzeria called like Maplewood Pizzeria. Somewhere down the shore, and he's like, "Oh wow, look at that! That's so cool, Maplewood Pizzeria." So he walks in. There's one guy sitting there eating a slice of pizza. This is down the shore. It was Vic.
Oh, really? Wait, how long ago was this?
Probably 10 years ago,
Oh, okay.
But that was Vic. That was Vic.
That's
Can't
funny.
get away.
I love that story. One of my
Yeah.
favorite stories.
Maybe we should invite
about
Hank Zona one day.
You should have Hank on.
Yeah. I think that's
Is he
actually.
still living here in Maplewood?
Yeah. No,
he lives
no.
down the street from me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
check it. For those listening, if you don't know, check out Hank Zona Wines. Google it or whatever. He writes about wines. The guy is he's a cool dude too.
Yes.
Yeah, really
Great
cool
wines,
dude.
too.
Yeah.
He recommends.
So, any more thoughts on Nancy?
And
for
I
Ann?
want you, for our listeners, convince the listeners why they should vote for Nancy.
Well,
On top of your head, you don't have to go into details.
she's a Villanova fan.
She's a Villanova fan. She's a hard worker. She's a Villanova fan. She's dedicated, and you know what? The problem you get is, and we've had Township Committee members before, and I'm not going to mention names, but they come on and they don't do anything, and then they're gone. And they think they want to do it. They think they want to, and but then you got kids, and you got Little League games, and you got Cub Scouts, and your kids not doing well in school, and then you're looking for private schools, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, what about the Tuesday meeting? It's like,
Yeah.
I
I mean, Lee, if you ever won, could you have handled that?
Oh, I would have
think that
quit.
I could have.
And
Yes.
I've said that to my wife plenty of times. I said, my God, if I had beaten Vic somehow,
Right.
I think after like a month, I would have been like, what is this?
Right, to work all day and then go to that meeting for 4+ hours,
Right.
sometimes longer. It is just, you have to be really dedicated to this town to do that.
Yeah,
And
this
I've
town,
invited
yeah.
Nancy to many things like I was having, and she's like, "Oh, I can't. I have to go to this." And
Right.
she does her thing.
And she's
I
there.
just respect that. I respect DeLuca. I respect anybody that's on this township committee.
I agree.
Look at you. Never thought you were a pro Vic.
You know, as the older you get, you start to appreciate the ones that put in the time.
Well, there you guys have it. We got a pro Vic and a pro Dean.
And right, that's right. And by the way, Ileana's a hard worker. This is our 4th week doing this podcast, so applaud right there for the 4th week of the podcast.
I know.
And as I
I
mentioned
know.
earlier, and before you, I think I've spoken to Ileana now 250 times on the phone. I've got 400 emails from her. She also likes a text message, and
Well, because we're both working, and I'm texting him like, "Hey, that they're
Multitasking.
But you know what she does?
Multitasking.
She'll text, like start a text and then like finish it on email. Something. I mean, what? What?
She's busy. She's a teacher.
She is. She's a teacher. Yes, she is a teacher.
Tough job.
It's a tough job. Yeah. So what? So professionally, Ann, you're still happy with your job? Your work is good. Life is good. Your son, I know he's off to college and
Yes.
Columbia High School graduate.
Columbia High School graduate. He goes to Loyola of Maryland now. He just finished his freshman year. He's very happy.
That's awesome.
We're still in Maplewood.
That's awesome. Yeah, he was a good kid. kid always has a smile on his face from the day he was born. The day he was born, he's smiling. He's like a month old. He's looking at me with a big grin on his face. I'm like, what were you laughing at? And he was laughing at me, I think. You know, but,
Smart kid.
Right, he's still laughing. That's right. And not because I'm funny. I think I'm funny looking. But did you know Anne has you have and I think I mentioned this in our first podcast. 8 siblings.
I have 6 sisters and 1 brother.
Got 6 sisters and 1 brother. Okay, so there's 8 of you. So there's 8 of you, right? And your favorite would be, I guess that would not be Ellen, right? That would.
Oh, definitely not Ellen.
That's right. That's right.
No, definitely not.
No,
Oh, it's definitely her. It's definitely her.
Who's your favorite, Lee?
not Ellen, that's for certain. Yeah, I like Mary.
Everybody likes me.
Everybody likes
I
Mary.
like Mary. You know, Mary was when I moved.
This is Mary
to
Marzano, by the way.
Mary Marzano. I got to give her props. When I moved to Maplewood, I did not know you yet at the time, but Mary was one of the first nicest person I ever met.
Yeah, she is.
She was very nice. We were both pregnant at the same time with our first child. And I remember I went to her house and she was so sympathetic. She knew I was going through a lot with the whole mean girl stuff on a while. And Mary was one of the first person that she was super nice with me. She helped me doing a lot of town events because she was good at it, and she gave me good props. Good props for Mary Marzano.
Yeah.
And Mary and Nancy support her as well?
Yeah, Mary's a big Nancy. In fact, I know Nancy through Mary. Almost.
Oh.
So I have to say that. But let's not feel sorry for Mary because she's in Tuscany right now.
I saw
Okay.
gorgeous
Yes.
pictures. Look at her.
I know.
And I'm in this 3x5 podcast room.
Yeah, arguing with me. Arguing with me.
I could be in Tuscany too, you know, Ileana. Not for
you.
Right, not for you, right? Well, anyway, okay. So we're going to take a short break. We have another guest coming up in just a moment. So thanks again.
And Marcelo, thank you so much for coming and giving your
Thank you.
perspective.
And you are the best. You were.
Thank you.
And I know
love you both.
We
Thank
love
you,
you.
me
And
too.
I know Nancy appreciates the kind words you had to say
Say
about
about her.
Okay, so we'll be back in just a moment.
On election day, I stay home. I don't vote. Fuck them. Fuck them.
Okay, welcome back to the Soma Talks podcast. We are sponsored by Coda Kitchen. That is a great restaurant in downtown Maplewood. It's a restaurant, it's a bar, great food, great appetizers, great happy hour from 4 to 6. Coda Kitchen, highly recommended. And we have another sponsor. Our other sponsor is the Lifestyle Boutique, Lux 45, the Lifestyle Boutique. That, again, is on Maplewood Avenue. Jill Berman, she is the owner. It is a great place for women's clothing, women's accessories. She does a fantastic job there. Mention that you heard about her business on the Soma Talks podcast and receive 15% off. And we have a third sponsor, and that sponsor is Senor Sangria. Ileana?
Yay! I am happy to have a minority-owned business called Senor Sangria. I'm sure a lot of people out there have had this kind of beverage, which is a sangria, and now they came out with a new line called the Apple Raspberry Spike Sangria. I have a bottle that I will be giving out to one of our listeners. Just go to Instagram, join us, and Lee and I, we will pick someone from our followers on Instagram, and they will get one free bottle of sangria.
Oh, great. And you'll be drinking the other 3, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So.
Probably.
So,
I do. Little did I know I was buying Senor Sangria, and they're from Maplewood.
They are from Maplewood.
And they're,
Okay.
minority. Yeah, I like the white one. I like their white sangria. It's really good.
Awesome. All right. So after the show, I will participate, but not before because I have trouble speaking as it is. So a couple glasses of sangria. So anyway, we have another guest with us. It's Ileana Bryant.
Woo-hoo!
She is a Maplewood resident, and she is here to talk about her good friend Malia Herman. Who is, again, running for the Township Committee on this Tuesday. Please vote. You have an opportunity to vote for 2 candidates. 3 are running. Ileana, would you like to tell us a little bit about why you feel so strongly about Malia? You came in to discuss her, and she obviously, her winning means a lot to you. Tell us why.
First thing I want to say is I am not an official spokesperson for Malia, so if I
Right.
say anything stupid,
You're just
don't
a
hold it
neighbor.
against her.
No,
Yes.
you're a neighbor that you're one. Yeah, you like her.
Right,
I just blame Ileana when I say something stupid. I go,
Yeah,
she made
I
me
mean-
say it, but
It's
Great,
true.
I will try that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm just a grassroots supporter, like many others in Maplewood. I do know Malia. She is a neighbor and a friend. So I've lived near her for 10 years, so I know her character very well, as well as her qualifications. So I voted for her. I did early ballot, thankfully.
All right.
So that's out of the way. But early voting is already on at the Turtleback Zoo, as you probably know.
And I see you have the pin with you too, by
I
the way.
brought a pin for you.
Okay.
I love. I don't know
will.
if you've seen her signs, but this is
I
Malia from
have.
Maplewood.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Okay.
Great. Yeah. So my rationale and reasons for voting for her, I have a couple. Obviously, I don't know the intricacies of all her policies, but it's a combination for me of qualifications and character. I don't know how much you guys know about Malia or her background, but she is
Just what I've read on her website.
Yep.
I had a brief conversation with her where she corrected how I pronounced her name.
Yeah, we did have
Maria.
She's like, it's
Malia.
Malia. It rhymes with Maria. It's not very hardly, So anyway,
it's Hawaiian,
Yeah,
which is why she shares that with Obama.
That's right,
Malia is Obama's daughter's name. It's a
right,
native
Malia.
Hawaiian
Oh, okay.
name, and actually that's a good segue because there's a lot of similarities. So strangely, just coincidentally. I am friendly with Obama's sister, Maya. I knew her before Obama was Obama. We were friends in the 80s. I lived with her, just my roommate. And so I know the whole Obama story, and it's very similar to Malia's. So Malia also grew up in Hawaii. She came from a multi-ethnic, multi-religious family, multiracial family. She has Asian members of her family. She is a Latina. She is in an interfaith, multi-religious family. And that is also true for Barack Obama and his family. They were multiracial, also had Asian members of the family, multi-religious family, and also grew up in Hawaii. And I kind of credit that Hawaiian-ness for being all about harmony and bringing people together. And that's one of the reasons I voted for Malia, is that we are in a very fractured, intense, and divisive environment. And we need leaders like Obama and Malia who bring people together, who cross divides, who build bridges and bring the community together. That's one of the reasons I voted for her.
So you know the Obama family, and you came to talk about Malia. So all the people thinking about voting for Malia Herman, I mean, she knows the Obamas, and she's not here to talk about the Obamas. So
I know Obama's family. So Obama and his sister actually are nearly 10 years apart.
Right.
And they were raised primarily by Gramps and Toots, the grandparents who lived in Hawaii, and I went to their apartment and knew them, but I'm Obama's sister's age, so
right. Gotcha.
I met Obama later in life when he was running for president, but he was already off and in school, and actually I think he was working in the projects in Chicago when I met Maya for the first time, which was like the late 80s.
Wonderful. You have a question regarding?
Oh, I have lots of questions, but you know me, I always have like 72,000 questions.
I'm looking at our book with exactly. Question number one.
Now, can you explain to our listeners why they should vote for Malia Hernan? Like, she's new. A lot of people don't know much about her. And
New to politics, but you said she's here 10 years already.
Oh, she's here 10 years,
okay.
and she has done a lot behind the scenes, so I can talk about that.
But if you can talk briefly about that, because I personally, she might be around, but I personally didn't see her around. Like, I could throw like Dean Daffis or some people out there that their name are constantly there, but there's other people I've said, like, I really haven't heard from her. I really would like to know what's going on. What can you tell those people why they should vote for Malia?
Well, I was going to say, you haven't seen her because she's busy. She was busy doing stuff. She was founding the Moms Demand Action. She worked for CPAC, which is special education group, and she's a great advocate. She actually is a journalist in education, and she's like a leading voice in that area. And also, as I said, Moms Demand Action. She was working behind the scenes in the pool committee, adding to inclusivity to the pool. She was also a mom doing Girl Scouts and coaching and all these other things. So that's, again, one of the reasons I'm voting for her is She's really about substance and getting things done. And she was behind the scenes and has been behind the scenes of a lot of the Democrats around town. So, she did campaign management for, I think, Deb Engle and Greg Lembridge. And she's been a very active Democrat. And as I'm an active Democrat, I've known her and seen her. And in fact, I first saw some of her Democratic activity for some of the other town council members that she was working for. So, so she's been here all along, working hard. She just hasn't been trying to
behind the scenes type of activity. Where she's doing. Again, we were just talking about that before you got here when we were talking about Nancy Adams, and we were talking about how and Vic DeLuca, and I know a guy like Vic, and he wants people that are joining the committees, that are getting involved, because he ultimately has been doing this for years. And when he makes a decision on who he wants to maybe get that nomination, that's very important to him, the Maplewood Democratic nomination. Now, I know Malia didn't get it, truthfully, because you have two incumbents running. That's usually how it works. Were you able to get a little bit of an insight as to why she said, this time I'm going to run. This is, even though I'm not getting the endorsement, maybe I could get in a couple of years, but...
The first thing I should say, by the way, and again, I'm not a campaign spokesperson,
Yeah.
so you want to ask Malia.
No, this
but
is your opinion.
I actually think she didn't get the nomination on a technicality, that she announced her decision after they'd made the nomination. So I think she missed that window.
Right.
Obviously, I can't speak. I have no idea what goes on in the committee leadership or whatever. But I think technically she had missed the deadline for that.
Got you. But she felt committed. This was her time. She wanted to make a difference right now.
That's what she told me initially. I know she said she'd been thinking about it for a while, and maybe because her kids are getting a little older. I know she has a daughter that's just entering high school. She thought that this is the right time and right election to kind of stand up and participate, maybe out, more in front and center than behind the scenes.
Well, certainly for her to get, ex-Mayor Profeta, ex-Mayor Lembrig, Greg, ex-Mayor Frank McGee,
Frank.
ex-Mayor
And
Dean. I mean, that's kind of like, that's murderer's row, and with the old Yankees, like the best Babe Ruth. I mean, that's kind of, Profeta is kind of like the Babe Ruth of Maplewood.
Like the big dogs.
She's like the big dogs.
And they're out there in the morning. I did one of the early commuter train runs, and they come out and hand out leaflets and canvas. I mean, I'm thankful for anyone in this community who will run for office.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Because it is such a difficult and contentious time right now, and also it's quite thankless. I mean, I have seen a lot of the Board of Ed and town council meetings, and these things go on sometimes till 12 midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and these town council members have jobs and families, and they give up so much of their time.
And they get you got to have thick skin. There's backlash. There's always going to be someone's not happy with you. You have thick skin. You're sitting at a restaurant. They come over. They give you a hard time, or they don't. But you are putting yourself out there, and she has. So because we're Facebook friends, Malia Herman and I was very happy that she accepted my friendship request. But I noticed that she's very busy with her children, with Boy Scouts and whatnot, and so she's a full-time mom. I know you're not a spokesperson, but it doesn't sound like, from what you're telling me, that putting in that volunteer time is going to be an issue for her. It seems like she's already doing it.
Oh no, she accomplishes a lot. She manages her family. She manages work. She's already been on all these different committees. And just what I've seen her, the effort she's put in, even in this short time for her candidacy, I've been doing a lot of canvassing with her, and she is there, start of the day to end of the night. And as you said, putting in the time to talk to everyone. I mean, that's one of the things that I've just admired watching her as someone, supporting her campaign, is that she really does talk to everyone and listens to them no matter what they want to talk to her about, whether it's, the Architectural Commission, her position on dogs or transgender athletes or whatever, she's there and she gives people the time.
Well, she certainly listened to this podcast because she told me I was saying her name incorrectly. So she took the time to listen to us as well. So
she probably gets that a lot. Look, Ileana and I can deal with that. We've got unusual names, and that's part of it.
I'm used to it. I'm used to it.
And Lee's difficult too. Believe
really?
Where's that from? Where's that
Lee,
from? Yeah.
It's just my mom thought I was going to be an idiot, so she's like, "Let me just come up with a 3-letter name." Right, yeah, exactly. He'll be able to spell it the rest of his life.
I have a question for you. What do you think Malia have that the other candidates don't have? Like, why her, not the others? Like, what do you feel like she has special that the other ones don't have?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think I'm qualified to talk about the other candidates. I can only talk about,
They're on the Township Committee, so you've seen how they work and how the things they've done and everything. What do you think that Malaya can bring that maybe the other ones do not have?
I can say a couple things that come to mind as maybe a difference is Malia has kids in the school district K through 12, which is important to me as a voter. Okay. She also has kids who are athletes. And who, her husband's a coach. And I do think having kids in the district, I had 2 kids, thankfully, go through K-12 in the district, had a fantastic experience, but I know the challenges and ups and downs of having kids in district. So she's familiar with a lot of those issues. She has kids, for example, that walk to school. So one of her her 10-pole issues is about making sure that the streets are walkable and safe for the kids that are walking to school. She has kids who are athletes. She has a female athlete who are kind of suffering in our community right now and seriously disadvantaged. And so these are issues she knows personally. And for me, that's important as a voter.
The ball field's interesting. So, the athletes. So I know that she's not opposed to turf. I know the candidate.
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. So, maybe
she is an anti-turf. The only turf that she did was the one from the what is it called? That park? The Ritzer one.
Yeah, it's not a park actually. Just to clarify, there's a lot of confusion around this.
Okay, excellent.
First of all, Malia is not pro-turf, and what is hilarious about this is
a lot of people thought she was.
I know because it's easy and it makes her look bad, but it's not the truth. So this is what I find hilarious as a friend and neighbor is Malia drives an electric vehicle and is like a composting, recycling green mom. Okay, even all of her lawn signs were delivered by zero emission vehicles. So the point to paint her as somebody like anti-environment is just
no. On the
hilarious.
contrary, people thought that she was pro-turf, and a lot of people like that. But it happens to be she's not pro-turf. She's only agreed to that turf and that specific.
Right, but she's being positioned as someone who is pro-turf and anti-environment, which isn't true. Mm-hmm. She is pro-balanced approach to the fields. And first of all, there are no fields up for turfing in Maplewood at all. Okay. So that's not even, people are trying to say they just go like Turf Memorial Park or we're going to like wake up and have AstroTurf everywhere. That's not the case. It's only Ritzer, which is a school field. Mm-hmm. And as someone with a kid at Columbia, I know the problems in that field. And the hilarious thing is I have some friends, obviously I canvass among my friends, and I have a friend who is probably the greenest person I know. She's got like a heat pump thing. She's got solar panels on her roof. She doesn't even put fluoride in her toothpaste. Like she's like super green. And I said, I wanted you to know that Malia is aligned with the town and the Board of Education and so as MSD on turfing the high school field. And I wanted you to know that. She went, well, of course, so am I. I may be green, but I've got a daughter who's a soccer player. Right. And I know how they suffer and how they get injured, With
the turf?
Without turf. Because they're unplayable fields and they're dangerous
fields. Rocks and mud.
But from what I've read, that's the only turf she agreed that should have its divots or any other parks.
Yes.
She is anti-turf.
I think I would say she's just balanced and normal. Like it's this whole turf thing.
Do you think that might hurt her some votes because she's anti-turf?
Well, no, I wouldn't say she's anti-turf. I would say she's balanced, which is, look, I would love to have, green parking lots, but sometimes places like parking lot need a different substance on the ground, right? We're not up in arms if we have to put concrete in a parking lot or whatever, or asphalt. In this case, she's,
Yeah, I'm down with her position. I like that position. It's basically like, hey, we're not turfing every single field, but, one, which, was the big one, right?
It's for the
I'm
school
just going
kids.
based
It's
on
for the
what I read
students.
because Greg Lambridge, of course, he's endorsing her, and he said Malia's not seeking to add artificial turf to any of our town's public parks.
That is absolutely 100% true. Yeah.
She will support the Board of Education's sensible proposal to install a turf at Ritzer, which is the only one that she's agreeing to put the turf. Any other part, it's basically she's not
It's
the
not a
turf
public
there.
park. In fact,
Right.
it's for the students. And
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
Columbia High School wants its students to be able to use the fields.
Right.
And be safe, too. I mean, if you talk to anybody, my son has friends who are softball players and lacrosse players, and, these kids, soccer players, they all get injured. And worst of all, the girls can't play as frequently as the boys because they don't have enough playable fields. So again, Malia is not pro-turf or anti-turf. She's just sensible. Let's look at the situation and let's see, what's right. And in this case, anyway, it's really Columbia High School and the school district's decision on their property, what they need to supply their students. And if you speak to any kids at the high school, particularly those that play sports, they know.
So, Ileana, any more questions for our guest? By the way, really appreciate you coming down this last minute. I called
know,
up like
it
at
was
3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, very last minute.
I was,
Do you have a second person who you're going to vote for? Or you're still debating that one. Oh no, you already voted.
I already
we voted.
voted.
You don't have to answer.
You don't have to answer.
So all I can say is
You
they're
did vote
great
for a second?
candidates. So obviously I had a second choice vote, and I respect and admire anyone giving their time for public service. And I'm glad for those who are running and putting themselves out there for town council.
Right. And as I mentioned earlier, I think before you joined us, for those out there who perhaps are just joining into the podcast and you're fairly new to the area, there are 3 candidates running for 2 seats. You don't have to vote for Adams and Kripe, even though you might see their names on the sign together. It's not a ticket like president and vice president. You could vote for Adams, you could vote for Malia. You could vote for Malia, you could vote for Kripe.
Right.
You could vote for just Malia, you could vote for just Kripe. You could vote for just Adams. It's up to you. You could vote for me if you wanted as a write-in.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
wouldn't
That's a
recommend it.
wasted vote.
Yeah,
You should at
no,
least
no.
every vote counts, right?
yeah, well,
I'm kidding. I'm not saying it's a wasted vote because it's you. I'm just saying that it should go to a candidate.
I ran in 2011 against Victor Luca, actually, and in the primary, I was actually Malia, but I didn't have 4 mayors, backing me. I had 4 mayors threatening me. Like if you better knock it off, Lee. You're saying terrible things, you moron. So I got 388 votes. Vic got 1,200 votes. So anyway,
Well, thank you for running.
I think
And
Malia's going to do quite a lot better.
I did want to say something, Ileana. We were talking about this earlier. As a Latina member of the community, we forgot to say this.
Not a lot of people know that.
Not a lot of people, and not a lot of noise, because I just saw that statistic. That the Latin community in New Jersey is the largest minority community at 22%, and it's underrepresented. I think we have less than 3% Latina Congress people, and in particular in New Jersey, Latinas are highly underrepresented, and so another reason I'm voting for her is. Is to get a Latina voice.
I
in
like
the
that.
community.
That's why I'm a little biased. That's why I'm voting for Malia. It's good to have like diversity in the Township Committee and have like a
and
Latino
government
representation.
around the state of New Jersey. I mean, basically, you're saying it's so Latinas. Would you say they're underrepresented because or underrepresented? Would you say it's Ileana's fault that there's not enough Latinas in government? That's what I'm trying to say, Ileana. I think it's your fault. So what do you think of
It's
that?
a conspiracy. I don't know. There's a great article put out last month by Records about this, but
Ileana will be sending me an email later about that statement.
Probably.
Like, I can't believe you said that. I apologize.
That's
You were
true.
saying. You're right.
That's funny.
I mean, I think I have no expertise on that issue, but I have read some articles and I can send you one. But I think it's got a lot to do with structural things, and they just aren't deeply embedded in the democratic
There is a little
system.
bit of a Latin community here in Maplewood, South Orange.
Is it? Okay.
There's got to be at least 300 or 400 of them.
All right, you know
there.
what? That's they can make a difference right there. That can make a difference.
Every vote counts.
Every vote counts. Ileana, this was wonderful. Really appreciate you stopping by last minute. Really pleasure to meet you. As I said, the first time I met you was when I introduced myself and when you walked in. But we've chatted on the on the World Wide Web before.
Debated.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've discussed various. Things. So, but again, I really appreciate it.
thank you for coming.
I think Malia Herman, she's got to be very happy with some of the things you said about her. I would certainly be thrilled if anyone ever spoke about me like that.
Aw.
So
Agreed.
yeah. So I guess we're gonna wrap things up, Ileana.
Yeah.
Right?
All
I
right.
guess.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, thank you. So we're just going to sign out and mention again our sponsors. Please check them out because without them, we can't keep the lights on. So that's Coda Kitchen. Everybody knows Coda Kitchen. It's the greatest restaurant in Maplewood. I think in the state of New Jersey, actually. I would know I'm there enough. Their happy hour is wonderful. Their drinks are great. Their food is great. Allison, the bartender, Lauren, the bartender. These are just wonderful people. Luke, he also has the next door. He's got the deli next door.
The Outborough.
The Outer Borough, right? That's a wonderful place also to check out. And then, of course,
Good sandwiches.
Good sandwiches. That's right. Great sandwiches there. Lux 45. Are you familiar with Lux 45, the lifestyle boutique? It's also on Maplewood Avenue. Jill Berman is the owner.
Yep.
Yeah. You okay? Yeah.
I know, right next to the wine shop.
That's right.
I see it. I frequent that.
That's right. Yeah, so you can pick up a bottle of wine and pick up a dress at the same time. Yeah. So mention that you were here at the podcast, and for anyone listening, Jill will give you 15% off. And then finally, our third sponsor, and I think this might be Ileana's favorite sponsor of the evening.
I'm an alcoholic, I'll admit it.
just today.
Just today. No, yes. Our other sponsor is Senor Sangria. Check it out. Their new line with the Senor Sangria Apple Raspberry Spiked Sangria. It's really good. I've been drinking it while we've been chilling with the ladies today. So I highly recommend it. And we will give one bottle away eventually.
All right.
So, yeah.
If we don't drink it first.
Yes, exactly.
Any for the guests? I'll take one.
Any further, guys?
we can make that happen.
What happened?
So, for Ileana Adler, Ileana Castillo, and for Ilana Bryant, make sure you vote on Tuesday, Maplewood. You've got candidates you got some decisions to make, and may the best woman win. So, again, thanks for listening, and we'll do it again soon. Bye-bye. Sponsored by Coda Kitchen and the Lifestyle Boutique and Senor Sangria. That's our new sponsor. I'm Lee Nadlin, and I'm joined once again by Soma's favorite social justice warrior, Ileana Castillo.
Yay!
You like that one? I think every week we're going to come up with a new nickname for it.